Steve. Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the Masters League here for Formula 3. It is round 2 of the championship of Season 9 as we take in the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, both for the sprint and feature race, of course, here in Imola. And as you can tell with the fancy graphics, my name is James Henn, and I'm going to be taking through the stream, of course, as always, on a fine Friday evening. And joining me in the commentary box, repping the Welsh Dragon himself, it is Mr. Ivor Bryn. Mike, Ivor, how you doing?
I am doing great and looking forward to this one. As we saw yesterday in F2, it was changeable conditions, indoors to wet. So I'm wondering if we're going to get similar conditions here tonight.
Yeah, F1 was a bit similar as well. Certainly in the feature race, where obviously it rained for the first 4 or 5 laps, and then the rain stopped, and then the track dried out about lap 8, lap 9, and then a couple of laps after the safety car came in. Then it was all dry once again. So it is a real in terms of the weather, certainly. We cannot wait until what the likes of Imola can throw up, certainly here tonight. If you didn't tune in for last week's race, that is the wrong thing that I want to show first and foremost. That is the top 3 that I do want to show first. It is Dan, of course, who took the win from Yellow Geeson in second. Siege there in third last week in Saudi Arabia, and with a fantastic win for Dan. No doubt he leads the championship on 30 points as well. From Yellow Geeson in second on 25. Siege in third on 20. With Dylan McGivern in fourth on 17. Yoram in fifth on 15. Evil Chris in sixth on 14. Parody in 7th and 13, Legend in 8th and 12, Great Elmo in 9th on 11, and Maze there in 10th on 10, along with Key, Goals, Sygate, Roygard, who were tied actually 13th and 14th, Sygate and Roygard for 7 points because Roygard picked up the fastest lap, Schmitsky 15th on 5, and Ronnie in 16th on 4 as reserve, and then Steve, WG, Day Miles, Jamie, and Geese, who were meant to race, didn't actually finish last week in Saudi Arabia, so therefore they've scored 0 points so far this season. Williams lead the way in the constructors' standings as well, from Alfa Romeo in second, Mercedes in third on 30 points. They're tied for second on those, with McLaren in fourth on 28, Haas in fifth on 25, Alpine in sixth on 19, then AlphaTauri in seventh on 12, Aston Martin in eighth on 9, Red Bull in ninth on 8, and then Ferrari in 10th on the nil point, mainly because Jamie DNF last week as well. And either coming into tonight, obviously, we have got Dan out on top in terms of the drivers' standings. Williams leading the constructors by 12 points as well. Should make for an interesting night because we have got, of course, both races, sprint and feature.
Yeah, double opportunities for Dan and the Alfa Romeo team, but also for the Williams. And to be fair, also for the Mercedes team, who last week, I think it was a bit topsy-turvy for a lot of the drivers out there last week. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on now, where they have double the opportunity to score some points. Obviously, sprint race, I believe it's just the top 7 that get points, if I remember correctly.
I think it is, yeah. I think it is the top. You're now pushing my luck because I don't even know the point system coming into tonight. So I'm going to have to look at this before we confirm this on the stream. This is why I should be prepared instead of absolutely farting about before the stream actually went live.
If I remember correctly, it's 10 points for the win, 8 points for second, 6 points for third, 4 points for fourth, 3 for fifth, 2 for sixth, and 1 for seventh in the fastest lap, I think.
Yep, you are absolutely correct. Thank goodness for that. And we did have a graphic, by the way, for that, which unfortunately still has Season 8 on it, so I couldn't actually show it on the stream because it is, of course, Season 9. Let's have a look, though, before we get, of course, into the driving action out on track. 4.9 kilometres and then 3 miles of the Imola circuit. 1 DRS on, 1 down in towards Tamburello, of course, at turn number 2, and quite a lot of elevation change around this track, quite a lot of opportunities for overtaking as well. And Mike, obviously coming into tonight, we saw first-hand F1 and F2 last night in terms of changeable conditions. We said it there at the start of the stream. What are we looking forward to potentially in terms of the racing action? As I'm going to glimpse to the left-hand side and bring it now up on stream when it decides to on my end. It just says, please wait currently on my end. I hope it is going to be dry conditions.
Yeah, in terms of opportunities and what we're going to see, I think we're going to see quite a bit of side-by-side action, especially through turns 2 and 3. I did see quite a few potential overtakes, and that happened in towards turn 9. Obviously, people getting good traction out of turn 7, the hairpin, and getting a good run up the hill towards turn 9. So we definitely could see a fair few opportunities, and of course, as I just mentioned, with the hairpin itself, potential to go around the outside there, potential to have a lunge on the inside. Good opportunity to make some overtakes around you.
Yeah, looking at, by the way, the Discord, Dylan McGivern saying, I'm gone, aren't I? Well, I hope you're not. And he is. He is left the session. We were waiting for Dylan McGivern there to ready up. But I'm now going to delete that comment because I literally have just asked if anyone's screen is stuck on black. No, there we are. We're all good. It was just Dylan, I think, leaving the session. It's all fine now. And everything. I'm sure Dylan McGiffin will join back at the start of the sprint race with only 5 seconds to go in qualifying and a very overcast qualifying session here as well for one shot. Let's go on board with one of the men that is going to be driving the course out on track tonight. And let's go on board with Evil Chris, who is in the Haas. He comes now down in towards Variante Bassa at turn number 1. And Evil Chris now starts up on this lap. Expecting to be around the midfield. Steve looking up there early with Dylan McGiffin. Siege's AI there. Dylan McGivern's AI, I should say, in second. But this is all going to change to go now down in towards Tamburello. Through turn 2, through turn 3, through the left-hander turn number 4. Dan currently out on top. Dylan McGivern's AI is in second. I'm not sure if he's actually featured in this session. I hope he has, because he is going to be getting up there at this stage. Evil Chris now comes through the right-hander of the Villeneuve chicane in towards Tulsa corner. 24.9 in the first sector. Charlie is retired from the session. He is a newcomer to F3 tonight as well, or a returnee, I should say, to F3 tonight as well. Evil Chris now runs into the left-hander of turn number 9 at Piratella. Ooh, nearly runs right there. Coming through Piratella, on the run down in towards Aqua Minerale. Of course, reprofile from the Assetto course stage. Taking a very wide line though. This is all over the shop coming out of Aqua Minerale. Yellow Geese and Dan seems between these two in one-shot qualifying so far. He is retired from the session as Chris absolutely obliterates the Variante Alta, and as you can tell, he's invalidated, so we're going board with Yellow Geese, who's about a second ahead of him at the time, I think, coming out on track. I think that comes in towards the Ravazza section, out on track. The Williams, of course, second week he is racing. He was due to be on another date tonight. Unfortunately, they're still protesting in the Netherlands on public transport. Yellow Geese comes on, goes quickest ahead of Dan there in second. 15.4 compared to 15.7, a 16.2 there from Legend as well in third. Yellow Geese and Dan. I didn't move these guys up to F2, but I might have to after qualifying session, because that was literally carbon copy of last week.
Yeah, and obviously for Yellow Geese was the run he got out of the chicane that really propelled him ahead of Dan in the final sector.
He did indeed, and Yellow Geeson through the Ravazza, I think got, as you said, that 2.5 tenths per second. He's now out on top from Dan in second. 2.5 tenths, as I say, the gap between the Dutchmen. Was Legend there in third, with Jamie in fourth, Siege in fifth, Dylan McGivern in sixth, and quite a lot of drivers actually sparsed about. If this was, of course, an 18-minute qualifying session, I guarantee you it would have been a lot closer than this. Great Elmo in 7th, with Ronnie in 8th, reserve, Schmitsky in 9th, Howdy there in 10th, Daymars in 11th, Maze there in 12th, then Steve WG, all of the disqualifications now coming up. Steve, Yoram, Ghost, all disqualified, Roy God, Key, Charlie, and Evil Chris, we already saw invalidated. He retired from the session, as did the others, I'm sure, who picked up invalidations, as well as I think I just spy Mr. Dylan McGivern joining the session there right at the end of qualifying as well, and hopefully he'll be in for the sprint race. He, of course, I think is starting toward the back end of the field, as we now come into a very, very wet, well, not very wet, but a wet sprint race. Intermediate compounder tyres looks to be had here.
Yep, definitely the Greenwald intermediate tyre is going to be strapped on for these guys, and obviously with the conditions, it can change so quickly. Could it go to dries by the end, or will it rain even harder through the race and potentially warrant a switch onto the wets? That's the question now.
It could do. The 5 red lights now coming on here in Emilia. I wasn't prepared for the start, but these guys are. It's lights on, and away we go. And Dylan McGivern, to be fair, gets a really good start in the background. The Yellow Geeson has already flown off the line. On the run in towards Tamburello will lead the way. From down there in second, Jamie in third, Legend in fourth. There's already major carnage further down the field. Ghost has been caught up, I think, in a bit of desync there. Ronnie, Key, and there's a cog on straight on over the gravel there as well. I think that might be Roy God, or was it Dylan? It is Dylan, but has actually crashed off on the right-hand side. I think he's lost his front wing as well, but Yellow Geeson leads the way. Dan there in second, Jamie in third, and Yellow Geeson already away, already excelling in these intermediate conditions. As you can tell, coming through Tulsa corner. Yellow Geeson leads the way, Dan in second, Jamie in third, and Dylan McGivern, I think, has caused an AI, or his AI. I'm not sure if he's actually reprogrammed. He's actually stopped out on track. So Dylan McGivern, not sure what's going on there. There's a VSC out on track. He has stopped, and I can only assume that there's some sort of issue maybe with his wheel. Yeah, he's been disqualified. I don't blame him for doing that. If he has got a problem, it's best to stay out of the way, and best, obviously, he's caused a VSC, but if there is a problem, and he can obviously mention that, then Dylan, out of the race. Unfortunate for him. He joined the session, and he was in 6th position, coming down in towards someone, so I don't know what happened. As back into green flag racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I'm just quickly checking on Dylan to find out what exactly happened, whether it was a wheel issue, whether it was just an AI issue, or whether it was a game issue, because we can't rule it past being a game issue, to be fair.
I wonder if there was a bit of desync, actually, because I saw a car, I think it was either a Red Bull or a Williams, one of the two cars. It's very difficult to tell in these conditions. However, I will come back to that point because we are on board with the Red Bull. Ghost on the back of Day Miles for 8th and 9th position. Nobody actually came into the pit lane, I'm glad to report, on the first lap. So whatever happened with that desync, I think I can only assume we have got nobody in with front wing damage, which is good to see, as Day Miles makes a mistake and Ghost now to the inside line. Ghost has been about the ringer here in F3 quite a few times, but he gets the job done through the inside line. And Villeneuve came slightly out wide there, but he's now through. He's into 8th position. Day Miles there in 9th, Yoram there in 10th. But actually up the front, quite close. Yellow Geeson leads the way down in 2nd, Jamie in 3rd, Legend in 4th. The front 4 pulling away from Siege, of course, who was on the podium last week in Saudi Arabia there in 5th. Dylan McGivern saying, as well in the Discord, he pressed take control, didn't give him control, and disqualified him.
Yeah, and he also left the session, I saw as well, after that happened. To be honest, I thought he would have stayed in the session to make sure he's in his car ready for the feature race.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got 10 laps to rejoin back. It's not the end of the world, I guess, if he wants to join back, obviously. But if he has got an issue with his wheel, which I'm assuming might be the case after, of course, that incident that we had with him, he's there down at the back end of the field. And obviously, if he'd probably be thinking at this stage, Thomas has just fixed your game and then it'll be all fine and rosy. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen tonight. But Yellow Geeson leads the way down in 2nd, Jamie in 3rd. I'm on board with even Chris, by the way, right down the back end of the field. Yoram as well is going from moving Day Miles to the outside line. There was a yellow flag through the final corner. That was key, I think, spinning in the Aston Martin as Yoram goes past on Day Miles. He's into 9th position. Day Miles there in 10th, Steve there in 11th, and also Evil Chris I couldn't even get my words out. Does get that job done. On Schmitzky, he's into 15th as Roy God is trying to challenge Steve for 11th.
Yeah, and I'm on board with this battle for P7 right now between Ghost and Elmo. Ghost hounding the back of Great Elmo here for P7. Of course, a 2.5 second gap between Elmo and Real Powdy, who's the last member of that train up at the front.
Dylan saying he keeps disconnecting from the server as well, as Yoram has actually got past on Ghost. Beautiful move that was actually coming out of Piratello. I think Ghost made a mistake there, and actually Ghost tries to switch back out of Aqua Minerale. These two are side by side in towards Variante Alta, and they're not going to get the job done shooting from here. And yeah, Yoram is through. Ghost in the end making a mistake, I think, in the Red Bull. These guys are pulling away from Day Miles and Steven behind as well. Charlie has recovered well up into 12th position after his turn 1 incident as well. But Yellow Geeson leads the way down there in 2nd. Jamie in 3rd. The front 3 are pretty much evening each other out at this stage, with Dan setting the fastest lap of the race at this stage of the race, and he is catching Yellow Geeson a little bit, not much, as Charlie is through on Steve, who makes a mistake at the final corner of the Ravazza. Roy God is going past him as well, down the straight in the Alpine. Might even get Charlie down the straight as well. Could be even 3 wide down the straight here as well, because Roy God has to try and give Charlie the bunk up. Steve on the outside on the AlphaTauri tries to get the job done, and this will be brilliant if he can pull it off. Charlie's nearly off on the gravel, on the grass there slightly, and it's 3 wide as Roy God gets the move done. There's a yellow flag in the foreground. That's Day Miles hard into the wall, losing his front wing in the foreground of shot, as Steve now gets forced out completely wide by Day Miles. Not sure what guy he's actually taking.
Yeah, he's contact with that's taking them both out.
And that was inevitable. That was inevitable. You do not rejoin the track like that. I could teach you that. And Day Miles, unfortunately, rejoins the track in a very dangerous position. In the end, forces Steve completely off track, needs to use his wing mirrors, does Day Miles there, the Welshman down in 18th position. Mays on the back of Evil Chris as well. I think we've got the job done, so Chris is doing, he's into 12th, Mays down into 13th as well. And Ghost and Yoram are still battling in towards Variante Alta. But Yellow Geeson leads, down in 2nd, Jamie in 3rd. But that contact, unfortunately, 3 wide. Roy God, by the way, got the switchback of dreams on the inside of them both. In the end, though, a little bit of a sour taste from that battle. Day Miles should know better than that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate as we got Powdy and Siege into the pits, and I was just about to bring this up. The rain looks like it is stopping, so are we going to see dry tyres?
Oh,
And it
softs!
is the Red Bull.
It is the soft compound tyre for Siege, softs for Powdy. Yellow Geeson has picked up a 3-second penalty out in front as well. My oh my, we're 5 laps in, so this is normally actually the point where the weather might change in a sprint race, normally around the halfway stage, and this is perfect, I think, for the guys later on. It looks to me, certainly from my perspective, that the rain is actually still falling out on track, so I'm not sure why these guys are actually pitting in for set of stuff. It does look bone dry off the track temperature. There's not much spray being picked up, but down in towards Aquamillo, I'm on board with Yellow Geeson. There is definitely spray being picked up, so I'm not sure what these guys are thinking of going into a set of softs. I think everyone just has to stay out at this point and hope that the rain just dissipates out on track.
Yeah, well, I'm currently on board with Siege, looking at this delta time between him and Kiki, and it is floating around the 3-second mark. He is slowly starting to close in, so potentially it is that crossover period as the rain has stopped.
The rain has stopped. You're on the back of Great Elmo, and the leaders are in. So Yellow Geeson into the quick lane. Dan in, Jamie in as well. Legend also in. You can tell I don't know anything about the weather here in Emilia, as Great Elmo's the one that actually stays out. So the Belgian taking initiative, no DRS enabled at this point. This could actually be a stroke of genius from Great Elmo. The Belgian now leads the way from Charlie, who's also stayed out there in second. Everyone else, I think, is into the pit lane in behind. They are clearly banking on it to be set us off compound tyres immediately. Great Elmo, though, unfortunately for him, DRS is now enabled. So I think, in the end, it's the wrong call. And everyone that's fit on this lap, I think, have called it completely right.
Yeah, but as you can see, Siege, he does get close to Legend, but he's just not making that work. I think he lost a bit too much time in the first sector when he was still a bit down back there.
Did, but remember, he is on the fresher compounded tyres as well, and these tyres are obviously going to fly towards the end of the race, no matter what strategy these guys are on. They're getting to the end. Charlie puts up a 3-second penalty further up the field. He's there in second position at this stage. Siege on the back of Legend. Dylan McGivern has joined the session, which I'm glad to report. And it's also good to see, as I think it was Tam that mentioned in the comment section, it's good to see a full grid for once in F3 as well, making F1 and F2 look quite vulnerable, to be honest. But there we are. Siege on the back of Legend, 6th and 7th position, and in the end, actually, Legend's fresher tyres are actually beginning to let him pull away.
Yeah, Legend just trying to break away, but obviously with DRS now being enabled, that's going to give a real opportunity for Siege down in towards turn 2.
Oh, well, and look at Siege already, down in towards the Ravaxas, catching hand over fist. Great Elmo and Charlie staying out, which is very, very weird call indeed, unless they think more rain is coming right at the end of this race, which I could only assume it might be the case. They have got track position as well, so they could easily be mentioning on that. A Siege now absolutely flying on the back of Legend, trying to go for the inside line, now on the outside line towards Tamburello, and in the end, actually, Legend running scared of the curb as I munched off by accident. Legend there in 6th, Siege there in 7th, but Siege is keeping him honest, and Legend nearly got forced into a mistake there. Luckily, though, for him, Siege wasn't close enough.
Yep, Siege just a little bit too far back, but the one positive for Siege, he would have seen that red light blinking on the back of Legend's car, and that's going to give him all the hope in the world.
It is indeed, as Charlie is really losing time to Yellow Geeson as Roygaard tries to go all the way around the outside of Ghost in the meantime. This is on the run up out of Tosa in towards Piratella. There is a yellow flag, and I think that's Steve that has spurned. It is Steve coming through. Oh, Roygaard goes right around the outside of Piratella. Brilliant move by Roygaard. That was off track. But the level of commitment and the level of braking there from Roygaard got him the move in towards Piratella. It's a shame that he ran over the track limits. But in the end, that is a really class move from Roygaard, the Norwegian, through his into 10th. Steve is round again, I think, in the background of shot down there in 18th position. But Roygaard, right around the outside of goals. Yes, it was off track, but that might just be overtake of F3 so far this season. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and let's call it Elmo, I think has made a mistake somewhere because he's dropped back now within the clutches of Charlie. As you mentioned earlier, Yellow Geeson absolutely flying towards these two. Are these two just saying to hell with it, but sticking on the Indus to the end of the race?
I think so. I think it's trying to get within the top 9. I think is probably what they're aiming for at this stage, because Powdy there and Siege and Legend are ingrained in a battle. These guys keep battling. Elmo and Charlie have got a chance of getting top 7. That is what I think they are banking on in terms of the sprint qualifying, in terms of the sprint race. So unless, as I say, there's more rain to come, which I don't think there is because the track has dried out completely now, Yellow Geeson is now on the back of these guys coming out of Variante Alta, and this is going to be very easy down the straight. In fact, I'm going to say it, he's going to get one out of Ravata, and then one possibly down the straight in towards turn number 1, and this is how far back he is. 8/10 of a second behind Charlie, around about the same gap between Elmo and himself as well. Comes out of the Ravata, there's one, because he's already got so much speed compared to Charlie out of the corner. Might not get the 2, because Elmo leads the way still. Yellow Geese in the fastest lap, Dan fastest lap of the race as well. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, and I think that's Day Miles that's around in the middle sector. But Yellow Geese into second position is going to get 1, and is also actually going to get held up through Tamburello, gets the switch back though, should get it easy, and Yellow Geeson is Boonies into the race lead with just 3 laps to go here in Emilia, as Dan is going to come up to these guys at the worst part of the track, and that's in the middle sector.
Yeah, and for Yellow Geeson now, this is perfect because he does have that 3-second time penalty, so he can shine out to break away while Dan is getting held up by these 2 on the Indus.
Dan, I think, honestly, has got to go for a move, maybe in towards Aqua Minerale here, because he's got so much speed compared to Charlie, and in the end, Charlie doesn't even fight that. Fair enough from Charlie, gets out of the way, not his fight whatsoever. He's trying to hang on to the tyres as much as possible. As I say, 8th and 9th, I think might be the aim here for these guys. But Dan on the back of Elmo, look at the gap, it's 3 seconds pretty much between Yellow Geeson and Dan, as now Dan gets the job done on the Belgian, flying through the field. Of course, these guys on that set of soft compound tyres compared to those guys in the set of Inters with the yellow flag in the middle sector. I think that might have been an Alpine round, that might have been Roygard further down the field in 10th position. Yellow Geeson leads, Dan in second. These guys, though, Elmo and Charlie, have got DRS. Steve has retired. I think that is out on...
In the pit lane.
Right, was that in the pit? Yeah, it is in the pit lane. Couldn't see his car for a second there. Jamie is on the back of these guys as well. Great Elmo and Charlie swapping positions. I don't think they want to be doing that if they're on a set of Inters. Don't let everyone else be on a set of softs.
I was on board with that, and Charlie passed Great Elmo with DRS, but unfortunately, because of the yellow flag due to Stevie retiring in the pits, it meant he had to give the place back because he overtook on the yellows.
Great Elmo goes deep in towards Tulsa. Jamie switches back. Beautiful move down the inside from Jamie. He's up into 3rd position. And this is the Jamie of old, I think, in F3. He certainly provided it in F5 and F4, where he is a dual champion, of course, here in TML. But in 3rd position, he is now coming back, I think, to really his best in this race. Obviously, he's making up the ground. Elmo and Charlie, though, have got a real fight on their hands, and this fight, as I said, would come in the shape of Legend, Siege and Parry. I don't think Johan's going to get close enough before the end of the race, but it's all dependent now what these guys do on these Inters. 4th and 5th position currently. Where are they going to end up? As Parry's actually looking for the move on Siege in the background.
Yeah, well, I think Charlie he's going to be hung out to dry here because he, of course, is another one that has one of those penalties. So Charlie is going to be hung out to dry, but Legend going to cruise straight past the Alpha Tauri, and up in the P5 goes Legend. The real question is, can Elmo maintain a good position on these Indus?
Probably not, because Legend's already on the back of him. He's a little bit sketchy, actually, coming out of Tamburello. Let's forget on the ERS. Charlie has let the guys through as well, so Charlie not interested in the points for the sprint. Elmo, though, I think realises that he isn't in the chance of actually getting the point, as Legend absolutely forces it to the inside line. There was barely an Alpine's gap up the inside, but he does get the job done. Elmo, to be fair, was moving across as well, and now Siege is side by side up the hill in towards Piratella, and that's a job done for the Mercedes. Elmo, though, has to hang on for 7th at this stage to get the point, to get into 7th in the sprint as well. This has been brilliant from Charlie and Elmo and their perspective. Yellow Geeson, by the way, is running down towards Ravata. If you can stay on board with that, Mike, Yellow Geeson is in towards the final couple of corners at the Ravatas, coming through Ravata 1, in towards Ravata 2. Elmo in the end has lost out on 7th, and Charlie might still get him, you know. But Yellow Geeson to the line, wins the sprint here in Emilia by 3.5 seconds in the end from Dan. I'm sure it's going to be a lot closer in the race. In the end, it's 4/10 as a result of that penalty. Jamie there in 3rd, Legend in 4th. Siege is going to be in 5th position. Parody in 6th. It's a drag race to line for 7th. Elmo, though, will hang on. Charlie's 3-second penalty will not get removed in the break between the sprint and the feature. That is for sure. But Elmo there in 7th. does pick up a point, and to be fair, he actually did the right strategy, and my prediction of them finished 7th and 8th are completely and utterly right as well, as Jamie has unfortunately left the session, which hopefully he'll be able to get back in. Just waiting on Maze to come across the line along with Ronnie and Key, who haven't had the best sort of race, and Key especially hasn't had the best sort of race. He's just spun out of Varianta Alta as well. But Yellow Geeson wins, Dan in 2nd, Jamie there in 3rd in the sprint. In the end, a very entertaining sprint race, apart from the desync, obviously, that we had a little bit earlier in the lap. But Yellow Geeson out on top, Dan there in 2nd. Fantastic drive from Yellow Geeson. In the end, had it his own way. Don't think he's going to be like that, though, in the feature.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot closer in the feature race. I would assume that sprint race victory from Yellow Geeson, that came at overtaking the intermediates at the right time, whereas Dan got slightly held up in that middle sector.
Yeah, definitely so. FRL Charlie gets driver of the day, water by the in-game fans, and do you know what? He might even get driver of the day as well after that race, but it is only the top 7 that do get points, unfortunately, and it is Yellow Geeson with 10 points for his name. And he is there still in the championship lead, of course, coming into... Oh, actually closes in the championship lead, I should say, on Dan. As a result of that result, Dan there in 2nd, Jamie there in 3rd. I'll get the results up for the sprint instead of the results for the weekend. Yellow Geeson out on top, Dan in 2nd, Jamie there in 3rd. With Legend in 4th, Siege in 5th, Parody in 6th, Elmo in 7th. Those are the point scorers. Charlie there in 8th, Yoram in 9th, and Roy got in the top 10. Ghost there in 11th. Watch out for him down in 11th position. On the, I would assume, a set of hard compound size. Chris, Mays, Schmitsky, Ronnie, and Key, the finishers. But Damel, Steve, and Dylan McGivern all the way down at the back of the field. Dylan, unfortunately, as I said, I think he has made it back into the lobby, which is good. But that desync and that little bit of issue that he had in a beautiful blue sky and sunshine here in Emilia for the feature should be interesting.
Yep, what's quite literally just looking at the chat there, Dylan saying if his connection is bad, he'll retire in the pits on lap 1. So if his internet isn't working, so I told him to do a quick internet reset and everything while he was out the session. But Jamie is also not in the session, I don't think.
I think he's realised that perhaps there's a break between the sprint and the feature, which, because now it's actually in the game where they've added the sprint and the one-shot qualifying, I think he's left the session thinking there's a break in between the races. But anyways, we've got 5 seconds to go until the feature.
It's unfortunate for Jamie, but I think it's going to be difficult for him. He's saying he needs an invite, so I'll quickly do that while you take us through the start.
No worries. Father of Lights Night going out here in Emilia for the feature race. 32 laps await the drivers, and it's lights out and away we go. And Yellow Geeson gets a very good start. And actually, Jamie's AI has absolutely obliterated Dan off the start, and Dan is swapping down the field completely. Horrible start from Dan, the championship leader. Yellow Geeson leads the way towards Tamburello. From Jamie there in 2nd, Legend there in 3rd, Parody there in 4th, Yoram there in 5th. I think everyone has actually cleaned through. Steve G certainly got a caught up in a collision, I think, even off the line. Chris and Mays certainly off the line as well, having caught up in a collision coming through Tamburello. They've caught in on each other coming through there. Yoram dropping down the field as well. He has had an absolutely shocking first lap as well. Dan in the end is already up to 4th position. Out on track as well. Not sure what happened there with Dan off the start, but Yellow Geeson leads the way. Jamie there in 2nd, Legend there in 3rd. Jamie's AI car. I hope he can get an invite now because he will be in the podiums. There's a big contact in the background of shot, and that is Ronnie round, Great Elmo round, Ghost round, and Charlie round as well, all coming through Piratella.
Yep, I'm making sure I've sent him a couple of invites and that. Unfortunately, he does appear offline, which means I have to scroll through like 300 names.
Oh god. Not ideal at all, as Siege is going to try and get the move done on Parody, running down in towards the Ravaxas for the first time here in the feature. Quite a lot actually in terms of the tyre choices which I'll come to at the end of the first lap. I think Jamie is back in though, which I'm glad to report. Yellow Geeson though leads the way from Legend there in 2nd, Jamie in 3rd, Dan there in 4th, and Dan, willing to make up ground early, is absolutely charging on the back of Jamie, who has rejoined the session. Blitzers past the Ferrari, down in towards turn 1, gets the job done, and Dan is doing his into 3rd, Jamie there down in 4th, and Paddy there hanging on to 5th, with Siege on that sort of hard compound ties there in 6th position as well. At the end of the first lap, position changes are quite a lot of them. Dylan McGivern up 10, he hasn't got any desync on my end certainly, which is good to report. Roygod has got 3 positions gained. Miles gaining 9 as well. They were all clear of the contact that happened further down the field. Many positions lost, with Charlie, Chris, Mays, the real fallers, along with Great Elmo, who's lost 11 positions as well. But Yellow Geeson out in front, Legend in second, and Yellow Geeson, after Dan's dreadful start, Yellow Geeson leads the way by a good 1.5 seconds, and it looks pretty easy so far.
Yeah, Yellow Geeson getting the perfect start there, but for Dan now, it's about resetting the composure, just dialing back in, try to get onto the back of Legend, make the move smartly, intelligently, wait for the right opportunity, and then go hunting after Yellow Geeson.
Yeah, definitely so indeed, as it is still Yellow Geeson leading the way by 1.7 seconds from Legend there in second, Dan there in third, Jamie there in fourth position, Dan there with the fastest lap of the race as well, so he's already quicker than Yellow Geeson around a lap around here, but he's still got that 2.5 seconds to gain, obviously on the leader at this stage. There are further positions losses up and down the field further down, with Joram getting the job done into 10th, and Schmitzky there in 11th, Key there in 12th as well, and Joram on that set of medium compound tyres already making them work. He's into 10th, and he's actually not too far off the back of Dylan McGivern, only 1.5 seconds off, and Dylan right on the back of Day Miles is trying to get the job done, as Dye, with surely on that set of softs, will probably lose the position here, coming out of Tulsa corner, and Dylan McGivern, switch back to perfection, gets the job done. He's into 8th position.
Yep, Dylan making a lovely move there out of the hairpin, getting himself up into P8, and you would think that Dylan's got the pace now to try and close up to the back of Roygod and Siege on those hard tyres.
Yeah, definitely so indeed, as Yellow Geeson still leads the way by 1.8 seconds from Legend in second, Dan there in third, and the real big thing I think from Yellow Geeson's perspective is he has got that gap over Legend already outside of a second, even after lap 1, so Legend has got to try and respond with something. He hasn't got much ERS, 55% of ERS. Dan, to be fair, has only got 30%. So Dan is in a little bit of spot of bother with DRS, of course, now enabled on this lap. Roygod is going to try and make full advantage of that as well. The Alpine blitzes on past the Mercedes in towards turn number 1 at Variante Bassa, in towards turn number 2 at Tamburello, and Roygod is through and he's into 6th position. Siege there in 7th. Key also through and he's into 11th position, as Roygod in the end has actually lost the position and made a mistake on the outside curve, as you've mentioned.
Yep, makes a mistake, and unfortunately for him, he has to concede on that position that he just fought so hard to get, and that has allowed Dylan to get within DRS now.
Yeah, definitely so, and Dylan within that 0.8 of a second, as you mentioned. Day Miles, Joram not too far back either, so it's actually now a 5-way battle technically out on track, as two warriors of the league racing community go at it. Charlie and Ghost, 13th and 14th. Now, Charlie is relatively a newcomer, as Day Miles, I think, has had a mistake coming out of... has actually Joram dived down the inside line of Aquaman? I didn't see that on my camera angle, but I think Joram's just got the job done on Day Miles. Whether Day has made a mistake there, or if he's gone too aggressive on the tyres early. If Joram just decided to go down the inside line there, that's a brilliant move, and we didn't catch it.
I don't know. I jumped onto it at the end, and that was quite a bit off track. So I'm not sure if Johan went down the inside, or whether it was a mistake on Day.
Yeah, it might have been a mistake from Dye. Obviously, like George Russell sort of mistake. Obviously, when he's spun on the safety cars, Roygod's making the move done on Siege down the straight in P6 and 7. The other Geeson leading the way, the Legend in second, down there in third. Further positions gained further down the field as well. Schmitzky has been absolutely done for down the straight in the AlphaTauri. His fellow teammate Charlie has got through and he's into 12th. And the Red Bull, the sister car there of Ghost there in 13th position, making up ground early on. Amazed, by the way, and Evil Chris, they recovered from that battle as well, as Ghost is now down the inside of Charlie, once again trying to go for the switchback coming out of the Villeneuve chicane, now in towards Toll, so there was a yellow flag down the field. I think that's Steve, but the spun once again coming through Tamburello, as Ghost doesn't get the job done on Charlie that time around. But this is a very fascinating battle between them, guys. What is also fascinating, though, Dan right on the back of Legend in towards Variante Alta.
Yeah, and I can't lie. I think Stevie's having a nightmare race, and he just does not seem dialed into this track whatsoever.
Definitely not, and neither does Day Miles, because he is spun coming through Aqua Minerale as well. So if he didn't make a mistake last lap around, certainly has the Welshman down in 16th position, and they're in 16th is still doing a good job. But here comes Dan, his teammate, the Alfa Romeo, on the back of the Alpine. And this is only going to go one way, because he absolutely blitzes his ERS down the straight, and Dan, looking so quick down the straight, gets the job done. And Legend, he is done, he's into second position. Already on lap 6, by the way.
Here comes Dylan on siege. Gonna look around the outside of turn 2.
Tries to go around the outside and towards Tamburello. And in the end, I think has to back off. I'm not sure if there was a little bit of lag there. I don't think there was. But I think it was more avoiding action. Doesn't want to put himself in an opportunistic move. There's another yellow flag out on track. I think that was Daymild. Maybe retiring it into the pit lane as he is spun. I think coming out the Revatas is Dylan McGivern. Forced it down the inside line on siege. Coming out of Tulsa corner. Tries to get the job done. Coming out of Tulsa at turn number 7. Now up the hill and towards Pivottella at turn number 9. And Dylan McGivern has got that job done. The Williams is through. And he's into 7th position, passing the Mercedes, which might see as Mays has crashed coming out through Tulsa, through Villeneuve chicane. And that's a safety car.
Yep, and that is, well, I would say it saved Elmo and Ronnie, who of course had a horrible start, but also it's going to allow Stevie and Dave to close back up as well.
It will, and Mays unfortunately out of the race. Very weird position to go off though. He must have lost that a long way before he's actually spun for him to be there, because he's basically ended up in the wall on the right hand side. I think pretty much in where the escape road barriers are, as Steve has picked up a drive-through penalty spin under the safety car. If it wasn't going any worse for Steve, he's now got that drive-through penalty to serve. Parody, though, is into the pit lane, and this is going to be for a different choice of tyre. Obviously, on that set of hard compound tyres, and a majority, I would assume, will go on to that set of hard compound tyres and relinquish maybe a one-stop strategy towards the end of the race. But Yellow Geeson leads down in second. They are under the safety car now, out on track. But unfortunately there, Mays out of the race. And back to where he actually crashed. That was a long way off track compared to where even I was expecting. It's pretty much out of the gravel where this camera shot is.
I'm wondering if he wanted to just drive to Monza instead.
I don't know. I mean, I mentioned about Cremona. If anybody's been to Cremona, he might be going there for his holidays. You never know. But anyways, it'd be cushy if he is. Yellow Geeson leads the way from Dan in second, Legend in third, Jamie there in fourth. What I will do though is, of course, have a look at the comment section and see how you guys are doing. Of course, out in there in the comment section, out in the Ethernet, as we're going to say here tonight as well. And I need to find where the streamers are. We've got more viewers, by the way, than F1 and F2 combined last night, live watching right now, which is very good.
It's fantastic to see, and these guys are giving us another show, and like what we saw last week, it was a show they gave us last week, and they're going to be giving us another show tonight. And for Yellow Geeson, that safety car's got to be so frustrating for him now.
Oh, it is, and Dan is the last man I think he wanted on the back of him, to be honest, underneath the safety car, because Dan, even though his safety car, he was so quick off the safety car, he was lacking obviously off the first start. He is normally good on the safety car restart, so watch out for him on the safety car restart, because if he's there and he's fighting on the back of Yellow Geeson at the end of this lap, I'm assuming the safety car will be coming in this lap, but if he doesn't, Dan will be right there regardless, whatever happens. As May's saying, I know when I'm being overtaken, I will just swerve in. He could make 6 reports. Pruitt as always, yeah, unfortunately the driving standards have been lacking here in F3. Normally expected, as Scholes has sped into the pit lane, coming into, I think, and he's actually gone to a set of medium compound tyres again. So goes onto a set of actually wearing hard. So Ghost has gone onto a set of wearing hards, and I wonder if he sees what might be coming over the horizon, because I have just spotted what I can only describe as a bit of cloud on the other side of the track, which might be coming the way of the circuit. So that's why he might have gone on to set of hards, maybe.
Yep, potentially. Now, I'm going to have to look at this cloud, I'm going to have to study it, analyse it, and see what I'm saying, because obviously I've seen many clouds before, I can tell if they rain.
Yeah, if it's a Mamatas cloud, then I'm assuming it will be rain, but if it's not, and if it's just haze cloud, then I think it's going to stay dry towards the end of the race. We could be making it as we go along, though. We are not paid weather forecasters, we're not paid commentators either. But we're still giving you a good show here on lap 8 out of 32, a quarter of the way through here in Emilia. Yellow Geeson leads the way down in second, Legend in third. And I'm actually a little bit surprised, because I thought the leaders would have actually come into the pit lane. I think they did miss the pit lane, though, with the safety car coming out where they did. So that meant the likes of Parody, the likes of Roygaard, who were on that set of mediums, are now on a set of hard compound tyres, and are not going to be too far away from getting them to the end of the race. I have seen 25 laps done on a set of hards around here, but it is very, very difficult to make.
Yep, very difficult indeed, and I'm not going to lie, now I'm looking at Dylan for a podium.
Yeah, Dylan doing a good job. He's down there in 9th. Obviously, Voigt's ahead of him. Voigt is a quick driver in his day as well, so don't rule him out, I think, out of the finish. But these guys in a set of hards, the guys in a set of mediums, they're not going to have as worn tyres as what you would expect, I think, around here, and if they were going, of course, at flat-out speed. But Powdy, Voigt, Dylan will be on much fresher tyres, but the difference will be they're on that sort of hard compounded tyres, and therefore it takes longer for them to warm up. So there's every chance that the likes of Schmidtsky, the likes of Key, who are in 5th and 6th, they're on that set of hards and the set of mediums respectively. They are the ones that are probably going to get the jump on the guys behind because they simply haven't got those tyres warmed up, even though they're warming up the tyres under the safety car. And it's all about the track level. If it's a very high temperature, Powdy, Voigtgaard, those hards will not come in for another 5-6 laps, I would think. If it's a very high track temperature, the mediums from the leaders will certainly come into play.
Yep, and Siege being on those mediums, and he's going to be flying on this restart and going to be looking to take advantage of Dylan Roygard and Powdy's colder, harder tyres as the safety car is coming in this lap, so I'll let you take over the safety car restart.
Yep, safety car now coming in this lap, so that means Jellegisa now, Virtual Vermelander, he is now the virtual safety car, and he is looking for a second race win of the F3 season, of course, after the sprint race earlier on tonight. Jellegisa backing up the pack nicely, around 60-65 mile an hour being averaged here as a result, and Jellegisa now coming down in towards the Ravatas, looking to try and get this restart on and looking to try and get this done as my CPU is going off the cliff at this stage. Hopefully there's no updates going on in the background, I pray. But Jellegisa has absolutely flown, coming to the Ravatas, now coming across the line. He takes the lead of the race still, but Dan is already right there, and Dan, do you know what, is going to try and go for the move in towards Tamburello, closing up very quickly on the back. Turns off the ERS though, doesn't want to get the job done, and Powdy on that sort of hard is into play, and he's really stick. Voigtgaard dives down the inside line as well, and I wonder if Schmidtsky has actually got a little bit of right side end plate damage, because I haven't seen them seriously struggle out on track.
I am not sure, but Schmidtsky losing 3 positions in the space of 3 corners. It's not looking good for Schmidtsky as Siege is having a little look down the inside, and Siege smartly doesn't commit to that there. Otherwise that would have been an auto spin. You've got Dylan on the back of Roygard, Roygard on the back of Powdy, and Kiki now. Going to be a bit of a bottleneck for him in this middle sector.
Yeah, it is going to be a bit of a bottleneck for Key. Luckily, though, he's got the gap to Powdy. Powdy is going to be the bottleneck, I think, though, in behind. Because he's got Roygard, he's got Dylan McGivern. 2 very quick drivers behind him as well. And he is going to have to try and fight. There's a yellow flag on the other side of the track. But Steve WG again, who was spun. I wonder if he spun under the safety car and we didn't see it. He is spun once again coming through Tamburello. Emilia is definitely not his favourite track, definitely not his friend, I think, after tonight. Roygard, though, on the back of Powdy in toward the Ravatas, doesn't get the job done. Jellegisa, though, leads the way on to lap 11. Dan there in second, 5/10 of a second separating the guys out on track. Legend there in third, Jamie there in fourth, as Elmo, I think, has had a moment coming out the final corner to recover the car, but he's lost 2 positions as a result, as I think Siege is going to look for Schmidtsky down the straight towards turn 1, and already passes him through turn 1.
Siege, very good move there to get past Schmidtsky. Now Yarham over the back of him. Going up for a bit of a switchback and trying to look down the inside now. Yarham drawn alongside, and he should have this job done for Yarham. Now can Evil Chris get a job done?
Yeah, doing a good job, Yarham there in 10th position. I think the motivation clearly coming from his profile picture on Discord, as Evil Chris is on the back of Schmidtsky now in 11th and 12th. I trust you, don't look at that if you are of a certain age. Do not look at his profile picture. Don't go hunting in the Discord, because it is obscene. We're not at 9 o'clock yet, so I can't mention what it is. Charlie's on the back of Dane Milestone, 13th and 14th position, in towards Aqua Minerale. My voice is already going, as you can probably tell. Charlie, though, on the back of Dane Miles, not getting the job done there. And Charlie's going to have to try and apply the pressure. And speaking of applying pressure, goes as well on the back of Elmo further down the field as Daymels pick up a first 3-second penalty of the night. And speaking of penalties, by the way, Steve is into the pit lane as well. 6 seconds for Daymels, 3 for Charlie, 5 seconds for Ghost speeding in the pits, and Ronnie speeding in the pits as well. He's got 5 seconds as well as Dan's right on the back of Yellow Geeson coming through Variante Passa on the run down and towards Tamburello. Not going to be close enough. The US is going to be enabled next lap around. So if he is going to be close enough, he'll be close enough next time.
Yeah, and from the looks of it, looks like Dan is running some very low wings around you, and definitely he's just flying down that straight, closing in by a good 3 tenths without even using his ERS here. As Kiki's around.
Key is around indeed, coming out, I think that's on Tamburello on the outside curve. I'm assuming he's got caught. He's rejoined the car in 17th position, right down the back end of the field and out of everyone's way, which I'm glad to report the Aston Martins are clearly not liking this track at all at this stage. But yeah, back to Dan, certainly running the low wings, and I mentioned a comment there saying Dan was quick in the sprint race in the second half when it turned dry. Dan is keeping Yellow Geeson completely on his toes, and this is what Yellow said a little bit earlier on in the comment section between, I think, sprint and feature, where Dan would be quicker than him. At this stage, though, Yellow Geeson is taming the Dutch line for now. Dan there in second, Legend in third, Jamie in fourth. And if I was in these guys' camp in the front two, I'd be more worried about the guys behind rather than ahead, because Legend and Jamie is sticking with them, and sticking with them very well indeed. There's another yellow flag, and I think that's key round again, as Dan is not going to be close enough to move down towards Tamburello. Actually, do you know what? He might be. Screw that, to the inside line and towards turn number 2, tries to get the job done on the brakes. Oh, and he puts his car in there. Bit of desync on my end, certainly between them, and Yellow Geeson just about comes out on top. And in the end, Dan has to defend off Legend. I did say one out for them, rather than the guys behind us. Void got a spun in the background through Tamburello. Yellow Geeson though leads the way, Dan in second, Legend in third, but my oh my, Yellow Geeson and Dan were close to contact there.
Yep, and I think on my screen I saw Dan literally he backed out at the right opportunity there, at the right time backing out, and smart from Dan, but you saw that little battle gave Legend an opportunity to get an overtake on Dan, and looking at the ERS, Jamie is currently sitting quite comfortable on his ERS.
Yeah, he is sitting quite comfortable on that ERS indeed. 59% currently for the Ferrari, Legend on 30%. Dan on 60%, so pretty much same level as Jamie. Another yellow flag is Daymels, who was spun again, coming through Variante, coming through Piratella even. Yellow Geeson though, 95% of ERS, so he has got the most ERS out of everyone. Hasn't really had the opportunity to use it up down the straight, but he might have to now though, because Dan once again is on the back of him. Use of a tiny bit of ERS, going to try and draw alongside once again, and the closing speed is so quick on Dan, and this time around I think Yellow Geeson's going to say, you know what, come through. Dan, into the lead race, just about gets the job done on the brakes through Tamburello, and Yellow Geeson is just going to sit there, relax, enjoy his time, and say, what's the fuss? 92% of ERS. He's got Dan perfectly where he wants him.
Yeah, Yellow Geeson with that ERS advantage will definitely be able to come back past him if he can keep with him on this lap.
Yeah, definitely so indeed. Dan though leading the way. Yellow Geeson now in second. Legend there down in third. The position changes, I think, further down the field as well. I think Siege moved past as well on Powdy briefly. Powdy, I think, has got back past in towards Piratella now. They're 7th and 8th.
Johan up past both of them now.
Oh, Johan's passed both of them as Daymels have retired into the pit lane, the Welshman. Unfortunately not doing the most flag proud, but I know who is doing proud. Yellow Geeson is all over the back of Dan, who might have made a mistake on the exit of the back of Minerale. Cost the time all the way up towards Variante Alta, and Yellow Geeson has got Dan exactly where he wants him at this stage in the race. Daymels lead possession. Coming through the Ravatas onto lap 15. Dan leads the way. If he's got the straight line speed, he's got to use it up now. But Yellow Geeson's got so much ERS to burn, it's going to be a nulling effect, because look at this. Yellow Geeson down the straight, he's just going to breeze on by. Dan and Yellow Geeson playing the ultimate game of chess, live game poker here in F3. And Yellow Geeson takes the lead from Dan once again. Oh, it's Dan! Oh my god, what a snap of oversteer that is coming out of Tamburello. Just about gets the corner straight line and just about keeps it in second.
Yep, and I think Dan now realising it's a game of cat and mouse here, and that little one mistake almost cost him P2 again.
There's another yellow flag at Schmidtsky round, I think, coming out of Tamburello. It is indeed the Aston Martin's round coming out of Tamburello. Biella Geeson leading the way. Dan there in second. Legend in third. Jamie there in fourth. Dylan McGivern there in fifth. Siege and Parody are looking quite close. Seventh and eighth coming through Piratella once again. And if you are enjoying the stream, by the way, like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel in F3. And at least it's good to see a near full grid here in F3 compared to the absolute dire of F1 and F2. As you see something, Jamie making a mistake. Oh, left the session.
Left the session. I was just on board with him, and he just went so deep into the chicane, lost so much time, and then just left the session. But he has rejoined, so hopefully he'll get back in his car. Legend's left the session.
Legend has left the session as well. Oh, and his AI's in the pits. His AI is into the pit lane. Yellow Geeson, to be fair, that also came into the pit lane ahead. And I'm not sure what is going on. Legend there is disconnected as well. Hopefully nothing happening on the PSN end. But Yellow Geeson out on the pit lane, so the hards go on. Legend, I think his AI is saved in the blushes. He goes into the whole companatized as well. As his side-by-side coming across the line. That is Ronnie and Great Elmo swapping positions for 9th and 10th position. Currently out on track. Ronnie Thurney's into 9th, Elmo there into 10th position. And then Ghost in 11th, just stalking them, stalking the prey. Yellow Geeson tries to get the tyres warmed up. Legend, though, out the session. Jamie, I think, is going to take control of his car now. And if he does, he's going to be probably in the next second position, which he does now. Legend, though, I don't think has an invite back just yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just tried to send him an invite, but I couldn't send him because apparently he's in the lobby still.
Oh, my God. Why? Why? It's going to take him then 10 minutes to get back in, isn't it?
Don't know, I'm going to try again now.
Unbelievable. He needs to restart his game. If he hasn't already, he needs to restart his game. And that normally fixes it. Yeah. Such a shame. But we are now halfway through as Dan's better come across on to start lap 17. In fact, he's in the pit lane. So Dan is into the pit lane responding to Yellow Geeson. Gap between himself and the leader on the exit of the pit lane. 25 seconds, roughly, I think that was. I made it out to that. So Dan has got a little bit of time to try and get out here. Yellow Geeson, though, is out of the final corner already, or he's actually coming through the final corner now already. Coming past Schmidtsky. I think Dan's going to be ahead here by an absolute mile, possibly coming out the pits. Or is it going to be side by side? It's going to be side by side, I think, coming out of the pit lane. As out Dan, oh my God, white line overrun there on the curb, and Yellow Geeson side by side with him, coming through Tamburello, and Yellow Geeson's ahead. Yellow Geeson is ahead of Dan, opportunistic in the end, but Dan had a huge snap of oversteer coming out of the pit lane. He got over the white line as well, which might be at the cost for the stewards. In the end, though, he lost it by himself. He lost it because of the cold, hard compound tyres. And he's there in 11th position, there in the next second. And look who he's got on the back. He's got Schmidtsky on the back of him, and Jamie's 3 seconds behind as a result as well. So Dan at least saved blushes there by not spinning coming out of the pit lane.
Yep, and just confirm, Legend has received 2 invites now from me to rejoin the session. So if he is listening, Legend, you do have the invites there ready and waiting.
Hopefully he can rejoin. Hopefully it is just, hopefully it's not like a technical hitch maybe on his end that has cost him out of the race. But Dylan there leads the way. Yoran there in second. Paddy there in third. These guys are still in that fight. They're still in that fight. I think it was for an P5, P6 battle currently going on out on track. Fast start, by the way, has gone to Dan. 18.4 currently at this stage in the race. I'm sure that is going to be beaten towards the end of the race as well. As the gap to the leader, Dylan McGivern, to Yaram is 4/10 of a second. Coming through now, Villeneuve chicane in towards Tulsa for the 18th time. Dylan McGivern out on top. Now he's going to try and deliver the performance of his life. And he's on that side of whole compound and tyres. So Yellow Geeson and Dan, obviously, were on that side of mediums. They've came in into a set of hards. There's a yellow flag, and I think that's Elmo that has spun.
I think that's Stevie letting people through.
Is it? It is. You're right. Yeah, it is Steve letting people through, which is good. As Dylan McGivern has a huge snap of overseas coming down back from Minawali. He just had a camera shot. There's now Yoram right on the back of him towards Variante Alta. But Dylan McGivern, it's such a quick exit, and it's already lost 3/10 of a second, Yoram, to Dylan McGivern.
Yeah, Dylan doing a good job now out on top, but Johan will close up with this DRS now down in the run in towards turn 2. And the question is, how much is he going to gain you? Is he going to be close enough?
Yeah, Vajaku and Ivan, by the way, saying what happened to Mays. I believe he got caught up in an incident with Chris early on. That was in this race, in the feature race. That was coming through, I think, turn for Tamburello. So that might be why he was complaining a little bit earlier on, and it might also be because of driving standards as well, which, to be honest, I'm not surprised. And speaking of Evil Chris, the former, in that he's just picked up a 3-second penalty as well. Must have been listening on my end. Dylan Noel leads the way, Joram in second, Paddy in third, Siege in fourth, as Yella Geaton has managed to get one done, and Great Elmo absolutely spears on track, just in front of Dan, but luckily Dan's ahead.
The ghosting system coming through there for Dan. I can't believe it. If it wasn't ghosting right there, Dan would have got wing damage.
Oh, and Schmitsky's round on the background of the shot as well, coming out of the Villeneuve chicane. That's the wrong car we're on board with. That is Schmitsky actually in 12. So who was that? It was Steve, sorry. Steve spinning. Sorry, Schmitsky. Steve spinning in the background of the shot. Got me completely confused. I thought it was an Aston Martin, and then all of a sudden I thought that Schmitsky was an Aston Martin. But there we are. Dylan McGivern there, still leading the way. Joram in second, Paddy there in third. As looking through the I don't know what I was going to go on about there. Anyways, Dylan McGivern leading the way, Joram in second, and these guys have surely got to try and commit onto different compounded tyres. Yella Geeson side by side with Ronnie down into the Rabatas. Is he going to try and get the job done on the Norwegian? Yes, he is. Dutchman through the Norwegian, through and he's into 8th, and has got a car ahead of Dan, who is pushing.
Yeah, but the thing for Yella Geeson there is that when he's overtook Ronnie, he's actually helped Dan. He's given Dan DRS on Ronnie, and Yella Geeson doesn't have it.
Yeah, and looking through my Twitter, by the way, the For You section on Twitter, apparently we've got another snowbomb coming to the UK. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen. Currently no snow out on track. Steve is aside from the race in the pit lane. I don't blame him, to be honest. He was out of the race, pretty much overtaken by everyone as well, being Matt. And I don't blame him for that as all as that. Ronnie's been overtaken by Dan, coming out of Tulsa corner. Dan is through and he's into 9th position. Ronnie there in 10th. Elmo there in 11th. Dylan McGivern leading the way. Joram there in 2nd. Paddy there in 3rd. Towers of the cranes. The cranes towering over the circuit. If my brain would work, that would be great. The old houses on the right-hand side. Of course, Emilia famously plays host to the World Cycling Championships a few years ago. I think it was in 2017. They played it, and Emilia was one of the tracks as Joram has had a huge mistake coming out the final corner, and in the end, Paddy has got past him, but Joram's now coming back at his teammate in towards turn number 1 through Variante Bassa. Job done for him, and now Charlie's going to try and follow through on Siege as well in towards that part of the track, and he is indeed. Charlie through and he's into 4th, Siege there in 5th, and Joram back past his teammate for 2nd.
And Ghost picks up a drive-through, a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane. Drive-through, I don't know where my head was going there. Ghost. 5-second time penalty. Ronnie, I believe, also picked up a 5-second as well in behind.
He did. Both.
Oh, it's Dan. Dan's off. Dan's off. He's gone off track on gravel. Sorry to cut in there. And he's lost a huge amount of time to Yella Geeson.
And that was out of Tamburello, was it? I think it was. It was out of Tamburello.
I don't know the corner names.
Turn 4.
It was out of turn 3. Turn 3, turn 4.
Turn 3, turn 4. Yeah, he's caught on the curb. I'm assuming he's got caught on the sausage curb. And I'm assuming he's got forced off that sausage curb, over with the suspension, over to the left-hand side of the track, as Kino said to fastest lap of the race as well. So Dan has just lost that fastest lap of the race by, I think, around about 5,000ths of a second, if I'm not mistaken. It's a 1:18.481, 1:18.137, so it's actually changed since the last time I looked. But he is 3 tenths ahead in terms of fastest lap at this point compared to Dan, who is now going to be up for this race. As Dylan McGivern into the pit lane. This is now going to be crucial because Dan is probably going to be well ahead of Dylan McGivern, but medium compounded tyres, I'm assuming here for Dylan, as Legend has managed to rejoin, which I'm very glad to report, as Dylan is into the pit lane. Williams' front wing is glitching a little bit, actually coming into the pit lane. Just noticed that on my camera angle. Joram has just been overtaken by Charlie as well. I think down the straight in towards turn number 1. So Charlie through, and he's into 2nd position. And Joram there down in 3rd. Dylan McGivern coming out the pit lane is going to be well behind Jamie coming out the pit lane. But that could be for an P3 later in the race.
Yeah, and to be honest, he wasn't too far behind. There's a Legend, I think, should be taking over his car now down in towards turn 1. So with these guys up ahead needed to make a pit stop, potentially, I mean, Legend can still get some good points here.
Yep, and he's retaking control of his car, coming out of the Tamburello chicane. Probably realised that he probably wasn't the best idea to actually take control of his car through the Tamburello chicane, because he probably would have been off and probably in the wall. Paddy there leads the way. Charlie in the end is now picking up pace on that set of hards. He's there in 2nd. Joram then 3rd. Just beginning to drop off slightly there, the Brit in 3rd position. Doing a good job though, regardless, out on track at this stage. 10 of you watching, thank you so much for tuning in to League Racing TV and to TML F3 tonight, as Charlie is now going to try and let loose here on the back of Parody. This is for the race lead, believe it or not. The AlphaTauri goes for the outside line, takes the race lead. Parody there in second. And the tactic that we saw from Charlie was stay as late as possible out on track. He ended up finishing in 8th position in the sprint. Is he now going to do the same now that he's out in front and hoping maybe that he can try and get ahead of Dylan McGivern and Legend?
Potentially, but the issue for Charlie is obviously those tyres 21 lap old. So he has made a pit stop, but I don't see these hards getting to the end.
No, they've got absolutely no chance unless he's really good on his tyre wear. They've got absolutely no chance of getting to the end. He has already been in the pit stops, by the way. He made a pit stop, I think, at the end of lap 2. So Charlie has already been in the pit lane, so he doesn't have to make another stop if necessary. And actually, looking at his pace, he's pulling away from Powdy. And Powdy normally goes quite aggressively on his tyres, so Charlie has saved something up here. In coming through Variante Alta, unless I'm totally wrong, he's going to come in the pit lane. Charlie is now looking all over this field all of a sudden. Yellow Geeson is 15 seconds roughly behind him. Probably a little bit less than that, as Schmidtsky has retired in the pit. Yeah, Schmidtsky retiring in the pit. There was a brief yellow flag coming to Ravazza, and I think that might have been for Powdy. But Charlie continues on. He is either going to be coming in, set us off compound tyres to the end of the race, or he's going to be committed until those tyres go pop. And if he does, he's got the right call here, because he doesn't have to give up the positions to anyone else in behind. He's already made a pit stop, so is the guys in behind him. These guys could be fighting out for the race lead in a few laps' time.
Yeah, and Yellow Gleason is going to be trying to carve his way back through. He's on the back of Roygard now. So if he can get through on Roygard, and there's a nice little 9-second bit of fresh air for him to push into to close up the stage, where I think definitely will need to make a pit stop. Those mediums are definitely not getting to the end.
Yellow Geeson is on the back of Roygard to the inside line and towards Tulsa. Tries to get the job done. The Williams on the Alpine. Tries to hem on it on the inside, Roygard, but Yellow Geeson, I think, has got the pace, got the speed up the straight in towards Piratella, and he's through, he's into ninth? He's through, he's into 5th position, coming out of turn number 9. That's what I was going to say there. Yellow Geeson in 5th, Roygard there in 6th, and Roygard, again, another one that doesn't have to come in the pit lane. He is there still in 6th position. Charlie though in towards the Ravatas. This is probably the lap where I think he's going to make the call if he's going to come in the pit lane and then go for Softs at the end of the race. Now, the problem is, with that Softs, if he does decide to come in, which he isn't, the Softs do not last around this track whatsoever. It's probably a set of mediums to the end, but Charlie leading the way, Powdy in 2nd, Yoram in 3rd, and Charlie's intentions, to me, are clear. I think he's going to try and get to the end on those tyres. And if he does, he might just win this.
Yep, and now Dan on the back of Roygard, and can Dan use his straight line speed to get past? I don't think he can. It actually looks like Roygard's got a good amount of straight line speed as well, to be fair.
Well, he had DRS, and I'm not sure if actually Dan had DRS behind him either. And Dan there in 7th is doing a good job. He did have DRS, but he certainly wasn't using any of it down the straight, I don't think. He certainly wasn't closing in, but he is closing in through the corners, and he looks at the inside line of Tulsa. A carbon copy, basically, of the move that happened last lap with Roygard and Yellow Geeson. Now, done the same with Dan, passing him. So Dan through, and he's into 6th. Roygard and 7th, and in the end, that was actually easier than Yellow Geeson's move. These guys now borderline a 2nd, and they're just barely without DRS range of each other at this stage. As Evil Chris has crashed, coming through Tamburello. That might be a safety car. It is indeed a safety car. And Charlie now has to come in the pit lane, and everyone else in behind, Yellow Geeson and Dan, don't have to come in, but I assume they will if they see everyone reacting in front.
Yeah, I mean...
oh, Yoram, Powdy stays out. Yoram stays out as well. Wow.
There has been a McLaren strategy crisis that's gone on here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yellow Geeson and Dan are into the pit lane. Charlie has missed. Charlie is actually... The McLaren, sorry, have missed an absolute opportunity there, I think, to come in the pit lane and to keep track position. They're now 1st and 2nd. As I say, they don't have to come in the pit lane. Charlie now, though, is in 3rd position in this race. I cannot believe what I am seeing. He is ahead of Siege, Yellow Geeson and Dan. That strategy call in the end was wrong. 5th and 6th position. They're further down the field. And the McLarens could be potentially on for 1-2. this race has just taken a turn, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, I don't know.
Well, this is going to get interesting now because obviously the McLarens have stayed out. So if they pit now, they're just throwing away any hope that they got of a podium or a race win here. But are these two going to work together? Is one of them going to try and hold up the rest of the pack so the other one can win?
They have to. They have to, surely. And if I was in the camp of the McLaren team right now, and if they're in the same party, I'd probably prioritise Powdy more than Joram. Because Joram, to me, underneath, before the safety car, he didn't look like he had the pace compared to Powdy. So if I was Powdy, I'd try and utilise Joram as my wingman, and then Charlie can obviously try and attack him on the safety car restart, which I think is going to be easier said than done, because Joram is a good driver. Jamie does pick up a 3-second penalty. That was out of Aqua Minerale where he picked that up.
I'll tell you what, this is good for Legend as well, because see, with Legend disconnecting and he dropped a lot of time to the guys ahead of him, it gives him a chance now to get a somewhat decent result out of this.
It does. It does indeed, as Powdy does lead the way under the safety car, lap 27 out of 32. I think we're going to be waiting at least another lap, maybe even 2 laps actually under the safety car. And if we do, we're going to get probably racing back underway on lap 29 here in Imola. Powdy, Joram leading the way first and second. They have to stay there now because there's no other opportunity for them to come in the pit lane. Otherwise, they'll be probably behind Legend coming out of the pit lane there down in 10th. Paddy there leading the way, Joram there in second, Charlie in third, Siege there in fourth, Yellow Geeson in fifth, Dan in sixth, Roygaard 7th, Jamie and 8th, Dylan McGibbon in 9th, Legend in 10th. They are probably on the best strategy to the end of the race. Whether or not Paddy and Joram have anything to say about that, though, remains to be seen. Elmo, Doles, Key and Ronnie, who haven't caught up to the safety car just yet, they're in 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th position respectively, further down the field. But the McLarens currently lead the way, 1-2 at this stage. And it's now a case of trying to really defend for their lives, because if they defend for their lives and Charlie hasn't got the pace, it might be the likes of Yellow Geese and Dan, who've got so much pace, that might end up winning this race.
Yeah, and of course this is going to be so intriguing with Dan and Yellow Gleason as well, because I don't think they've had to try and carve their way through the likes of Siege and Charlie yet.
Yeah, definitely so. Ivan, by the way, is putting a comment in the comment section. Let me just get it up because I've just missed it. A 4-lap sprint around Imola. What could possibly go wrong? I know. What could possibly go wrong? But Mays is probably sitting, wiping his hands, just rubbing like an evil villain out of a James Bond film, I think, right now. And thinking, thank God I'm not involved in this, but I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys get on. Because if these guys get on, it just proves my fact right that the driving standards for Pua tonight. Not saying Mays is a Bond for them whatsoever. I don't even know what he looks like, to be honest. He could be a cat for all we care. Apparently, though, leads the way. Joram in second, Charlie in third, Siege there in fourth. And I know Mays is probably going to come in the section right now and is probably going to fire me.
Honestly, I reckon he's Dr. Evil at Austin Powers.
He might be, he might be. We're not calling him evil at all. He's done a lot for TML, obviously, and as a result, we are here in F3 as a result of him trying to carry on his legacy, of course, here at TML this season. Easier said than done with F1 and F2, that's for sure. F3, for the most part, towards the top end of the field. Certainly on the last few laps that we've seen, they have been very, very good in terms of the racing action. Very good, clean overtakes as well. That's what we like to see, and that's what you get when you've got the best go-to commentator in the comments box. And no, I'm not on about me, it's Mr. Arvikin, Mike.
I don't know about that. I'm
alright. Sure? Are you sure? He's alright. He's alright. He's above average. Put it that way.
I'm just here. I'm just here, you know. I'm just here.
just here for the thrill of it, I think.
I'm here for the banter.
Going on to lap 29 out of 32. I think the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. Ronnie is just coming through Aqua Minerale in the background of the shot. And Powdy definitely wants to get on with things. Safety car is in this lap. So now Powdy is virtual Burmalander. He is now virtual safety car. And he is looking to try and win this race right from the front with 4 laps of racing. Right to the checkered flag. What could possibly go wrong? Probably a lot.
Well, hold your breath, guys, because it's going to be an absolute hectic final 4 laps, sure, as Audi is going to be hoping that
gone
Joachim does a
already.
job here.
He's gone already, coming out of the Ravata, and now he slows up again, maybe to let Joachim catch back up. And now coming out of the final corner, in the end, I thought that was going to be a perfect restart from Powdy. He caught his teammate completely napping, but in the end, Charlie is going to have to run on Joachim. In the end, Joachim's going to have to run on Powdy as well, and in the end, they're actually not going to make any position changes further down the field. Yellow Geeson, though, on the back of Siege, can't get the move done towards Tamburello when it's still clean as you like. Coming through Tamburello chicane, Charlie goes right the up and under, round the outside, Joachim nearly push him off track, gets caught on the outside curb, Joachim is off the line. And Yellow Geeson there into second, Siege into third, and Joachim in the end, and he comes on track again. Nearly puts Dan in the gravel, and the two main championship contenders are still in contention. Dan has to force the move on Joachim, and that was no other option, I think, for that to happen. In the end, anything that possibly has gone wrong has happened, and now Powdy leads the way. And what did I say about a minute ago? Charlie leaves the session, I'm sure, out of rage more than anything else. But Yellow Geeson there in second, he is ending up possibly winning this race, all because of Joachim's actions coming through Tamburello.
Yep, and just looking at the Discord, Charlie, not a happy bunny.
Not a happy buddy at all. He should focus more on the racing, though, the Rod being frustrated at himself and frustrated with other drivers. That is for sure, as Powdy leads the way from Yellow Geeson there in second. Siege there in third. Of course, Stewart will have a look into that, as well as the other 6 instances that Mate is going to put in a little bit later on. But Yellow Geeson now side by side with Powdy. Easy as a light down the straight on towards lap 30. Pretty much the last lap we can get a safety car right now as well. Yellow Geeson leads the way. Powdy in second, Siege in third. There's yet more side by side action further down the field as well. Great Elmer was side by side with Ghost. Ghost, though, however, spookily gets caught on the outside curb and is still in 12th. And that silence, I think, says it all. Yellow Geeson leads the way, Powdy in second, Siege in third. Dan forcing the move on Roygard in towards Tulsa there at turn number 7. Tries to get the job done. Dylan McGivern there is 6th position as well. Slightly lagging there is now Dan up the hill in towards turn number 9. Gets the job done. So Stooney's into 4th. Roygard there in 5th. That lunge from Dan, absolutely crucial. Roygard there in 5th. Dylan McGivern there in 6th. And Yellow Geeson now putting away Powdy's round.
Yep, Powdy losing the car through sector 2. I can't remember the name of that corner.
Coming through out of back with Minerale, that's out of the reprofiled section of the track here in Emilia, of course, reprofiled from the Assetto Corsa variation of the track. But yeah, Powdy round coming out of back with Minerale. I've seen that happen many a time in my league racing career, that's for sure, and I have certainly done that before as well. As the other Geeson across the line still leads the way. I thought he was actually coming in the pit lane, but then I realised it was pit wall. Dan Noah on the back of Siege comes to the outside line, now to the inside line and towards Variante Bassin, now in towards Tamburello at turn number 2, tries to get the job done on the inside line. He's much later on the brakes and he gets the move done, sails down the inside there, and Dan in the end is in second. He might have a complaint to Joachim. Joachim in the end is down in 9th position and fighting out for the real scrimmaging top 10 points, if you like. Yellow Geeson the leads the way down in second. Ronnie has just picked up a 3-second penalty, and Roygard ran very wide there in the back red as well.
Yep, Roygard, I think, beginning to struggle a little bit. I'm just having a little peek at these fastest lap times. We'll see Dan now in a bit of fresh air. Can he go and take that fastest lap point away from Yellow Geeson?
Well, fastest lap at this stage is Joachim is through on Charlie's AI car further down the field. Fastest lap at this stage is Yellow Geeson, 17.3. And I don't think anybody's going to come close to that, because 17.9 Dan and behind, Yellow Geeson is pulling away from him. Out on track, it's 2.6 seconds the gap on towards the final few laps of the race here, or onto the final lap of the race as well. As Roygard, I think, just got absolutely outdone by Dylan McGivern on the outside as Joachim is round, coming out of back with Minerale. So he is now down at the back of the field there, Joachim, the Brit, down in 14th position. Roygard, though, got completely out of shape by Dylan McGivern. And speaking of out of shape, Legend pretty much sideways out the corner. He and Elmore have had a crash coming through the final corners as well. Powdy involved in that as well. Roygard and Dylan side by side, and in the end, Dylan, I think, has to do with an action. Jamie around the outside gets the job done.
Jamie coming through as well there, and honestly, I didn't even think about Jamie
and
popping through there. But...
Legend to the inside line as well, coming out of Tamburello. Oh my God, Dylan McGivern just about holds on to that move. In the end, runs out wide slightly, and now Legend's going to try and go for the up and under, coming out of Tulsa corner. Not to be confused with something else in your dirty mind. Yellow Geeson leads the way, 2.3 seconds. Dan there in second, Siege in third, and in the end, Legend still can't find a way through, and Dylan McGivern on the final lap.
Yep, Legend had an opportunity and it just wasn't meant to be. But the good news for that. Oh no,
He's
Steven's lost
round.
it.
He's
Oh,
round.
there we
He
go.
lost it on the curb. I'm not sure if Legend got close enough there. Certainly not on my camera angle. He didn't. Johan Balloway's retired on the final lap. Dylan McGivern's round again, recovering the car. Biella Geeson in towards the final couple of corners. In towards the Ravata for the final time. Yella Geeson in the end. He's going to make it a strong 2 out of 2 here. He is back at his brilliant best. Yella Geeson wins in Emilia. From Dan there in second, and he takes the championship lead, I believe, as well from him. Siege there in third, Roy got there in fourth, and in the end, Legend is actually fourth because of penalties. Roy got there in fifth, Jamie in sixth. Charlie's AI, if he rejoined on the final lap, he would have picked up P7. Dylan McGivern in the end is there in eighth position. We'll have a run down the rest of the field as we go through. But drivers are certainly going to be reporting incidents after that race. Certainly that's been mentioned in the Discord one too many times already. Hopefully things will calm down as well in the Discord. But Dylan McGivern there picking up driver of the day. One of Bellingham fans, he did very well, but not as well as the man who finished there in P1. Of course, that is Yella Geeson, and Yella Geeson to the top step of the podium. We will eventually see him come to the top step of the podium, I hope anyways. And
there
we are. There we are. Now he comes to the top step of the podium, walking nonchalantly on to the top step of the podium, and hop, skips and jumps to the top step. And in the end, Yella Geeson, he had Dan fighting him. In the end, it was a bit of a one contest because Yella Geeson was quicker than Dan when needed.
Yep, Geeson definitely had the pace throughout this entire race, and Dan was really the only challenger to Yella Geeson in this race, but just took a long time for Dan to make his way through the traffic, and I think that's what separated them today.
Yeah, it is indeed what separated them at the end of that race there, as well as Yella Geeson not only takes the sprint race win, he also takes the feature race win and takes about as maximum points as you can get, along with the fastest lap as well in the feature as well. In the sprint, however, he didn't pick up the fastest lap of the race, unfortunately. But Yella Geeson takes the win from Dan there in second, Siege in third, with Legend in fourth. There are plenty of penalties, I'm sure we're going to be added, though, to the end of this race, so these might be provisional. Roy got there in fifth, Jamie in sixth, Charlie there in seventh, Dylan McGivern there in eighth, Ghost there in ninth, only 0.2 per second off in the end on Dylan McGivern for 8th position. Paddy there in 10th was only around a second off Dylan McGivern as well. Ronnie there in 11th, Key in 12th, Great Elmo in 13th. In the end, they are in they finish the race. Johan, of course, retired on the final lap of the race. Evil Chris, Schmitsky, Steve WG, Day Miles and Mays all DNF now on track as well, which is unfortunate for them. But Yella Geeson takes the win. Dan in second, Siege there in third, and in the end, Yella Geeson, he said he'd be feared by Dan. In the end, Dan was the one that should be feared. Yella Geeson was the one that should be feared, and he takes the race win in both the sprint and the feature.
Yeah, absolutely. Yella Geeson was on fire here tonight, and well deserved on the victory in both the sprint and the feature race.
Yeah, definitely so. Dan saying as well he was unlucky as well. Certainly out on track. He got forced off into the gravel. In the end, second is probably about as good as he could get, I think, with Yella Geeson's pace off that safety car restart. Obviously making his way through the field. Did a fantastic job, obviously, out on track as well. And, of course, in with the future races to come here in TML, and a very sultry -1 that has just turned on my computer. Barcelona next week. Mike, what are we going to see, of course, in Spain for round number 3 of the championship, the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia?
Spain, a very good track, and hopefully we shall see a lot of action out there on track from these guys in F3. They seem pretty closely paced. Obviously, Yella Geeson and Dan being ahead of the field as it currently stands, but I think we're going to see good battles up and down the grid.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. It should be really good to see. And obviously, because we're on Discord, unless there's people in the waiting room, which there isn't, I'm going to look into probably ending the stream because I don't think actually these guys have got permission to go in the waiting room. So that's why I'm thinking we can't conduct the interviews tonight.
Honestly, I mean, they need to put in a ticket. They need to put in a ticket system and just, they need a ticket to get into the waiting room. That's all I'm going to say. It's like when you go to the doctors, right? You need a ticket.
Yeah, they could do. They could do. Or they could just want to be invited maybe into the waiting room as well if they do want to have an interview. But I think my voice is certainly going, so I don't think I could conduct the interviews, to be honest. So that's why I think we'll probably end it off here. A big thank you to everyone that tuned in, by the way. If you did like the stream, like, comment, subscribe, of course, and tick that notification bell, of course, if you are brand new to the channel as well. And, of course, for round 3 of the championship, and this is where it is all going to go very wrong indeed, as I try to save the thumbnail and now add it into OBS, just like magic. It will come up, I'm sure, any second. Eventually, it will come up any second now, like that.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.
Should be very interesting indeed. Apologies, by the way. I think I've got an ending trailer playing in the background, so if I started lagging there, apologies. That was the PSGL ending trailer you might have heard in the background of Sean. I apologise profusely. This is not PSGL, quite clearly. But in the end, round 3 of the championship is done. If you did enjoy the stream, like, comment, subscribe, of course, click that notification bell if you're brand new, of course, to the channel. And we will see you, of course, next week for more action. EML Premier 1 and 2 up first, of course. EML Premier 1 is myself and Alex the G, and EML Premier 2, Lesty and Ivan Tuntuk, who should be back, of course, in the commentary box, Lesty alongside Ivan. If not, it might be Mike filling in for Premier 2. And then for, of course, F1 and F2 next week. Hopefully we get bigger and better attendances from here on in from the season, because it is very frustrating to try and get all of these guys sorted in for F1 and F2. But that is at 8 PM UK time as well, along with EML on Wednesday, 8 PM UK time, and TML F3, same place, same time, Spanish Grand Prix next week as well. So we are going to end off here with a final word from our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.
Right.